Good evening,
Hi,
Mary Lou.
how are you?
I'm very well, and hello to anyone who is joining us live this evening.
You doing well?
Yeah, doing really well. Looking forward to our conversation, Mary
Mhm.
Lou. Should be great fun.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be really good. So yeah, everyone, welcome. Tonight we're gonna have a really interesting conversation regarding the relationship of clothing to our mental health and well-being. Jackie is an image consultant, and she's been in the industry 20 years.
Oh
No,
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 just eight, just
just
eight.
eight.
Yes.
8 years now, but that's still significant. So yeah, I'll hand over to her to just give you a little bit of background and tell us a little bit more about how like her journey to becoming an image consultant and what led her to starting this business.
Yeah, hi everyone, and I think it's a great opportunity to share a passion, but it's more than a passion because our clothes go so much deeper than actually just choosing what we wear. And my journey, I think that's probably a great place to start. My journey began after or during a corporate career where actually I just wanted to be the best version of myself, and I think I experienced lack of confidence in myself, and I knew that there was another way of being able to sort of harness a superpower, if you like, to be able to transition, for me to go up the career ladder. And I didn't know how to do that. I wanted to be the best version of myself. So at the time, and that probably is 20 years ago, I actually invested in myself and sought the services of an image consultant who actually taught me how to elevate. And we've all heard the adage, dress for the job that you want and not the job you have. And that's how I sort of came across it. And it absolutely worked. And I enjoyed the benefits of that for so many years. And then I had the opportunity of taking a gap year, retraining in image consultancy with the sole purpose of being able to guide women in the same way to develop dressing confidence and actually avoid the same dressing frustrations that I had facing my wardrobe in the morning. But as I said, it goes so much deeper. So the work I do as an image consultant, but I prefer the expression a transformational stylist. Actually, the work I do allows me to guide my clients through a process of positive change with their appearance. And boy, do I love how that translates because, as I say, clothes are a bit of a superpower, and we all sort of adopt sort of different strategies to feel good about ourselves, and clothes are very much part of that. So, seeing that transformation with many of my clients is there's some sort of magic attached to that, very much so.
That's amazing, yeah. And I suppose it's a very rewarding job as well.
Oh,
Um,
incredibly, because women come to me lacking in confidence, and I work with women of all life at all life stages. And it could be post baby, it could be post menopause, it could be women, back on the dating scene, it could be after suffering a loss that they find a lack of confidence there, wanting to sort of set themselves on a different path, or maybe progressing themselves into a new career, starting a new business, for example. So many different reasons why somebody would seek my help to elevate themselves, to feel better about themselves, and actually to align with their own personality. And it's kind of about that as well, Marilu.
yeah, no, I can definitely see that. Especially, like you've mentioned, like postpartum and um during menopause and whatever. These are all stages that we go through in our lives that we kind of lose a little bit of our identity essentially, and then
Mm-hmm.
we need to kind of reinvent ourselves and find ourselves again. And it's a big knock to your confidence in general, and a big knock to be broken down to, like, who am I, to ask yourself that question again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's so powerful that you can help and guide women on this journey to kind of find themselves again, and, you know, get their confidence back through just clothing that they wear.
Absolutely. What I love to be able to do is to connect my clients with clothing that feels good for them. And I can't tell you how magical that is to witness. And I call them magical mirror moments, that I might hand my client a piece of clothing. And, you know, when I work with my clients, you can see I've got a little bit of a rail of clothes going on behind me, because I just wanted to use it as an illustration. That they might say, oh no, I don't wear skinny trousers, or I don't wear wide leg trousers because it'll make my butt look big, or, you know, whatever the reason. We're all very critical of ourselves, aren't we? And then I said, no, just please just try it, because I think that might actually work for your body shape. And you might see their back straighten, their chin goes up, their chest comes out a little bit. They walk differently. I can see a smile appear on their face, and they go, that is amazing. I have never seen my body look that good.
Mm.
And that in itself is very rewarding. So if you start every day feeling positive about the way you look in your clothes, isn't that a great way to start your day, feeling prepared effectively for the day? So there's no doubt that there is a link between our clothes and the way we feel, because I'd love my clients to be able to face their wardrobes every
Mm.
morning and feel positive about what they're wearing. And that kind of, it just means that there's one less thing to think about
Yeah.
during your day. If you feel comfortable in your clothes and they are aligned with you, you know, they're enhancing all the good bits, diminishing any, you know, of the bits that we kind of don't want to show, we just feel good about ourselves,
Mm.
then that can change outcomes. I firmly believe that can change outcomes. So we've got a few
Mm.
viewers, haven't we,
Yeah.
Marilee?
Yeah. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome.
So yeah, it's actually interesting because there's quite a few studies that prove that, you know, your morning kind of sets the tone for the rest of your day. And that's also one of the reasons that they say that you should set goals, daily goals for yourself early in the morning. And, you know, um, it's as simple as that principle of make your bed after you get up. So dress the part after you've, you know, had your breakfast or whatever, followed your morning routine essentially. And I know this was a thing during COVID, you know, like they actually did some studies, and productivity was massively down with regards to like working from home and so on. And it was a lot to do with people not, you know, showing up essentially.
Yeah.
They would show up to meetings in underwear and, and all sorts of things, you know, and forget sometimes that they're only wearing their boxers. But I suppose, you know, it's that whole getting your mindset right
Mm-hmm.
for the day in order to be productive for the rest of the day.
Mm.
So that just speaks to what you just said, you know, of like how powerful it is to actually dress appropriately, to give yourself not only the confidence boost, but to get yourself in the correct mindset
Yeah.
for having a productive day.
Absolutely. And that's a very good point, because I believe I'm still working with clients who are still trying to overcome that sort of dressing down during
Mm.
COVID. You know, we had no clue what was going on, did we? And we were dressing for comfort. We were dressing to, you know, to stay safe. And actually that meant, yoga pants and, a very dumbed down version of what we would normally wear. Now, if you wear a pair of trainers, a hoodie and a pair of trainers and a pair of, yoga pants, that kind of sets a very different tone to being productive and to winning clients and being very positive in your mindset. To me, dressing in that casual clothing suggests that actually you're going to spend a day on the sofa,
Mm.
reading a
I, sup-
book, reading a magazine,
I suppose that's
watching
why
your
they call
favorite
it
film.
loungewear.
Well, there's a reason why they call it loungewear, isn't there?
Mm,
And I think that promotes a very, very different feeling
mm,
to putting on smarter clothes to actually present yourself well. So the mindset, element of that is absolutely huge. And I do have a little saying that I use quite often with my clients, that dressing the part absolutely sets you apart.
mm. That
For
that
sure.
definitely makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
It rings very true. That if you're, I suppose you can't walk into a meeting in like a hot dog costume. Like that's going to set a very different tone as opposed to actually dressing professionally. And I think a lot of workplaces, have like you said, there's a lot of people that struggle still with
Mm.
getting to a point where they are dressing appropriately.
Mm.
And it's not necessarily just because there's a certain work attire or dress code to adhere to, but it's also that productivity part. Like you're just in a different mindset when you wear different clothing, um, and I think that's really really important. So I would want to ask, do you have a favorite type of client?
Oh, and that's a good question. Do I have a favorite client? Well, yes, I do. And they are the clients, I have to say, because I can't discriminate at all. I love all of my clients because they come to me for some sort of positive change. And that means that they are receptive to change, that they have decided that actually they need some help, a step up the career ladder, their body shape has changed, whatever that reason may be. They have sought my advice, my expertise, if you like, to help them be the better version of themselves. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that,
Mm,
because that can manifest positivities in so many areas of our life. We're not just talking, about a business arena. This is about being the best version of yourself, presenting yourself in the best possible way, and feeling comfortable,
yeah.
in your own skin. So yeah, I do have a favorite client, and they're all the clients who want some sort of positive guidance. It's
So
almost a
yeah,
trick
it's
question.
it's it's actually interesting because there's a lot of research done on how people change their minds essentially, and there's only two ways. It's as simple as that. The one is an epiphany. Either someone has an epiphany and that changes their mind. The other one is through habits, and the one is more happens more frequently than the other. I mean, it takes quite a lot to get to a point of having an epiphany. Sometimes, so that tends to happen less so, as opposed to you know getting into a routine and changing your habits.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say? Would you say clients that come to you, um, are they generally open-minded? Is it people that usually get to a point in their life and have an epiphany and go, "Oh, I need to do something different so that I can get my confidence back," or is it more like, "I want to try this and see if I can get into this routine and change my behavior through
Mm-hmm.
habits."
I think for me, and that's a really good question, I think for me, it's more of the epiphany. I've got to a point in my life that actually I'm getting up, I'm not feeling great. Nothing in my wardrobe inspires me anymore. Nothing looks great. I don't feel good. in anything, and actually that has got to change because I want my day to look very different. And just last week I was working with a client who said, when I'm at home, I'm just in t-shirt and leggings,
Mm.
because what does it matter? It matters hugely, because it matters to ourselves. We've got to show up for ourselves as
Mm.
well. And I think our clothes make us feel valued, make us value ourselves,
Mm.
actually, which is more important. And so I know makeup is not everybody's cup of tea. Not everyone needs to wear makeup at all. But she'd actually responded literally a couple of days later, "You'd be very proud of me, Jackie." She said, "Just to let you know, this is what I wore this morning. I've put lipstick on, I've put my mascara on, and I've dug deep into my wardrobe, and look what I found." And she said, "I absolutely feel different. I feel differently about myself. I feel successful. I feel happy. I feel as if I'm floating on air." And that's because she changed up a pair of leggings to a pair of chinos.
Yeah.
And and she swapped a pair of sort of comfortable socks to a pair of loafers.
Yeah.
And it's sometimes, Marilou, it's that smallest tweak that can have such a massive, massive impact. And that's just what I love about how our clothes can change perceptions, because our clothes change perceptions of how others people view us,
Mm.
but kind of more importantly, how we view ourselves as
Yeah.
well. Mm.
And I suppose it's like what you mentioned there, what I pick up is that mind shift, essentially, getting people to
Mm.
make that mind
Yeah,
shift about you're not doing this for other people, you're showing up for yourself. And
correct.
that's important too,
Mm.
because you need to fill your own cup as well, and not just fill everyone else's cup. Um,
Yeah, absolutely that. But, when you have that mindset, when you have that positive mindset, there's just a feeling that you're more confident, your self-esteem grows. And that, as I said, that can sort of have a positive impact on your whole life. You leave the house feeling good. So you will smile more, perhaps. You will greet somebody in a very different way. If you're on your way to work, you will behave differently towards your clients, towards your peers. I just think it's amazing. Oh, someone's saying here, "Oh,
yeah.
Rennie, good evening. I swapped a tight pair of jeans to a pair of wide leg trousers, and my legs look so much longer.
It's
Thanks,
brilliant.
thanks to me." And I love that insight, to be honest. As you say, Rennie, it can be the smallest of tweaks that can
Mm.
make such a massive difference. And because we remember that sort of positive thing, correct me if I'm wrong, Rennie, but maybe you've had a positive comment as a result of wearing those trousers. So our clothes also engender a positive association. So the next time those wide leg trousers go on, you have the same feeling, that same positivity. Wow, look how long my legs look.
Yeah.
And that all serves to boost confidence and to boost self-worth and self-esteem. So we shouldn't overlook our clothes as a tool to enhance our mental well-being. Absolutely not, which is why it's so important to keep talking about this.
Yes, and I think another thing is like, I, do you find that people kind of initially feel quite overwhelmed in the beginning because they want to, it's such a big change for some people, and it kind of sometimes can feel quite overwhelming, and they try to do too much. But it's so important when you're saying that you need to break it down and do like it's the smallest changes that makes the difference. Like, do you find that people get overwhelmed because they think that they need to make these massive big changes in order to change their appearance and
They
appear more
can,
confident?
yeah, and that's a really good point as well. And I think that I would always suggest to my client that actually Rome wasn't built in a day, and we had, it's baby steps
Yeah.
really. And of course, we're not going to toss out all of our wardrobe and start again. We can't justify that, certainly not from a sustainable point of view. But it's about understanding what works for us, and then just, next time we need to replace something, we are more discerning about our choices, for example. So we will only opt for some of the colours that we know work for us, rather than buying something that actually makes us look a bit washed out, does nothing for our motivation because it could be dull. And yeah, it's sometimes just the small things. So it's changing the shape of a neckline, for example, changing the shape of a pair of trousers, adding a belt to a pair of jeans. That's another big one. So it's the small wins
Yeah.
that start to have an impact.
Yeah, no, it's like a snowball effect, isn't it?
For
It's
sure.
that making that small change, and then it's got quite a significant positive effect,
Mm.
and then it kind of just snowballs, and like, oh, it's that kind of, and then during the consultation, I presume that they get these, aha moments
Oh,
constantly.
constantly, absolutely. Yeah, and I invite my clients to bring pieces of clothing as well that have been sitting in their wardrobe. They might even still have the tags on, and they go, why am I never wearing this? What is
Mm,
the problem with this? It could be the shape of it that is doing nothing to flatter
mm,
a body. So you might feel old fashioned, you might feel frumpy, your arms might look bigger in it. There's all sorts of reasons why something might not work. And of course, we can actually find out why that doesn't work, so that my clients would avoid making that sort of purchase in the fullness of time.
yeah. So, I've heard you mention, positive clothing association before. So, would you want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure any of the listeners must all have a piece of clothing that they have worn, previously. And every time you put it on, you feel like $1 million. And, you walk differently, you stand taller, you feel good, you almost feel very invincible in that item of clothing. And that is going to be different for everybody. That could be a pair of killer heels, it could be a fitted bodycon dress, or it could just be, a ruffle at your sleeve, or something, something that feels really good. But then, as an extension of that, someone says, wow, you look amazing. Wow, I love that ruffle, or I love the way that dress fits you, or that shirt looks amazing on you. And then next time you wear it, so of course at that time you feel amazing in that particular item of clothing. But then the next time you put that on, you get those same positive vibes
Mm,
from those pieces of clothing. So it's really important that when you do buy your clothes, that actually they give you some sort of thrill,
yeah.
that they're joyful for whatever reason, and it will be different for
Mm,
everyone. And I liken that to, I love to see linen. I love to see that whole bohemian vibe.
mm,
I love that women can wear linen and not worry about it being creased. I
mm,
can't I can't wear linen because I don't like to be creased. I can
yeah.
absolutely see the value. It's a great fabric. It's a great fabric at this time of year, and there's lots of it about at this time of year. Do I feel comfortable in linen? No, I don't. So
Yeah.
it's about connecting ourselves with pieces that actually resonate with us.
Yeah, and I think that's so crucial. It's like you say, you need to feel comfortable in the clothing that you're wearing as well.
For
Otherwise,
sure.
it's not going to do what it's supposed to be doing. It's not going to give you that confidence. It's not going to give you that dopamine injection, essentially. And yes, so it's really, really important. So I love the animal print coat that you've chosen for your headshot.
Yeah.
Um, this it's really amazing, and I love that headshot. It just speaks of the work you do. It's like it just you exude confidence, and you can see that you feel amazing and confident in that coat. Is there a
Abs
story behind that coat?
Well, there kind of isn't really a story, just that I saw it and I just thought that is my shot of dopamine. I don't know what I'm going to do when it runs out. I've had it for many, 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 many years. And there's something about it that when I put it on, I feel invincible.
Yeah.
Um, I feel as if I can take on the world. I feel like the very best version of myself, and that I could absolutely do anything in that coat. And a lot of my wardrobe makes me feel like that. And I'd
Mm.
love that everybody listening to this live now and into the future finds something in their wardrobe that actually makes them feel like that, because there kind of are no bounds to what
Mm.
you can achieve when you're feeling that. So that is the coat I feel invincible in, and that is my daily shot of natural dopamine, the naturally released thing that is the happy hormone, isn't it? You can probably tell us a
Yeah.
bit more about that.
Yeah, it's a complicated one because it's involved. It's more than just that, but it's definitely involved in, the reward system in the
Sure.
brain, and it is so crucial for our mood and like mood stabilization, and does influence that part. Definitely. It also plays a big part in memory and cognition. But yeah, I suppose, that's a conversation for another day. But
Yeah, I think
I feel like
absolutely.
this kind of touches on, the empowering work you do, and like how you equip women and empower them. Do you want to kind of just touch a little bit on that, and just, go through, what do the clients kind of like, how, like you say that, they change their body, their posture changes, like, and you can physically see this change. But then you've also got clients like your client that came into the chat and, said, thanks to you that I'm wearing different trousers and it's making my legs look long, and it's not something that I ever would have considered, and
Mm,
it's things like
mm.
that. So do you want to kind of like touch a little bit on the empowering work you do with women?
Yeah, absolutely. I suppose as a transformational stylist, I lead my clients through that process of positive change, digging deeply, into themselves, really trying to find a connection with how they want to feel in their clothes. And if I'm working very holistically with a client, I offer a service whereby I offer colour analysis to start with. So we start working on colours that absolutely flatter hair colour, skin tone, eye colour. And my clients can actually see how that impacts in some of the colours, because we do touch on colour psychology, and I'm absolutely not an expert on colour psychology, but I know how colour has energy, and a lot of my clients can actually feel that already. And you can see the way that they react to those colours. And some people, I will put a colour on and they'll go, take it off. I feel negative. It looks terrible. I look tired. My skin looks sallow. I look older. And
Mm-hmm.
then we replace that with a colour that actually, brightens their eyes, elevates their eye colour, lifts the chin, visually lifts the chin. It's pretty magical stuff. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's where the client starts to see a positive change. They might have been wearing very dull colours, they might have been wearing a lot of black. I don't have a downer on black, but it can sort of zap us of happiness.
Yeah.
Shall we say. It's not everybody's friend, but once you start seeing how colour can elevate your mood, then we define that, and we develop a thinking about how their wardrobe could look over a period of time. And then we work on personal styling, and we look at, body shape and how that body shape would react to different shape different shape clothing, because let's face it, clothing can be overwhelming.
Mm.
So we sort of hone in and define the most flattering clothing shapes for your body, and for your proportions, for your scale. And it can be, without it sounding too dramatic, it can be absolutely life changing, but we
Mm.
can't do it all at once. So
Yeah.
again, we see lots of magical mirror moments. So we delve into personality as well, about what resonates with us. And, just last week I had a client who really needed to hone in what was important for her, what was meaningful to her. And I pulled out a very floaty, drapey, metallic pleated skirt. And she, oh no, wouldn't wear that. Well, the moment she put it on, she was sort of sashaying around the room. She looked like Marilyn Monroe,
Oh,
just
please.
sort of, she just changed. Her whole persona changed, and she felt really comfortable
Mm.
in that skirt. And she went, I want all of my clothes to make me feel like this. Now, that has
Mm.
got to be a massive positive to the start of your day, to the way you feel about yourself, the way you conduct your business, your personal relationships. I think that is transformational,
No,
all
definitely,
because of a skirt.
exactly. And then that just set things in motion, and
Mm,
to go from, oh, I don't want to wear that, or I don't think I would wear that, to I want all my clothes to make me feel, that is quite significant.
it
And that's quite a
certainly is.
significant change.
Certainly is. Yeah,
Yeah, no, that's really amazing.
I'm very lucky.
So I think that touches on what you said earlier about, clothes being like a superpower.
Mm, for
Um,
sure.
and I don't know if you want to, if you want to elaborate a bit more on that point.
Well, I think our clothes, I might be at risk of repeating myself, but our clothes are very much an expression of our unique and our individual identity. So dressing that aligns with, our beliefs, our personalities, I think just gives us the
Mm.
edge. When we enhance and flatter our bodies, that already makes us feel good about ourselves, and it's just kind of one less thing to think about. And of course, our clothes, whilst the most important thing is that they make us feel good, it actually sort of sends a message to others
Yeah,
as well. So to tells people a little bit about what we stand for.
that's definitely true. And then, can our clothing engender a greater relationship with ourselves?
Yeah, I do think so, because comfort in our clothing is absolutely crucial, because we've all worn something where it might be a little bit tight across our chest, or we can see that it's puckered,
Mm.
and we spend the whole day or the meeting, or whatever it might be, worried about that thing. So when I talk about comfort in our clothing, I'm not talking about the joy of an elasticated waistband, which of course we've all got, a little bit more familiar with since COVID, haven't we? Yes, Jackie, yes, we have. But actually, that feeling that our clothes belong to us. So I
Mm.
am never happier than when I am wearing colour, because I get an energy from that. But I love a ruffle. So if I wear something, with a ruffle, whether it be on the front of a garment or on a sleeve, that makes me feel really comfortable about myself. So when I talk about comfortable, it's it's connecting to clothes that actually feel good. You know, as I said before, linen does not make me feel comfortable, but I must have 100 clients that go, "Oh, what's the matter with you? Our linen's wonderful. I don't have to iron it." So that clothing that sort of engenders that positivity can lead to body confidence. You know, the client that you know, says, I've never worn a pair of trousers that give my butt a shape like that.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just an amazing thing. If that is elevating your body confidence, your body positivity, you know, yes, clothing do engender that more positive feeling about ourselves. And as I said before, those magic mirror moments, it's proof. It's proof that our clothing does engender a greater relationship with
I
ourselves, for
suppose
sure.
it's also, you know, that difference between just wearing the clothes and actually being, you know, showcasing the clothes. Like, you know, like an art form, you know, like I'm kind of like getting an image of, you know, how the Paso Doble, it's like the man is the frame and he's kind of the woman is the artwork and he's just showing her off. And essentially, I feel like that's the kind of the same thing when you're comfortable in your clothing. It's and you're confident in your clothing, you're kind of like showing off the clothing as well. And it's kind of like you're wearing the art and just, you know, showcasing that. Um,
Absolutely. And we can do that every day of the week. And we don't need to spend a fortune on our
mm,
clothes. We don't have an unlimited budget. You know, we are becoming more sustainable,
yeah.
you know, in the way that we wear our clothes. So yes, clothing is definitely, yeah, definitely important to that.
Yeah. And so I think that's also, you know, what would your kind of reassurance be for someone that's got that kind of concern? Because I would suspect that that's a lot of people's concern when they hear the words, you know, image consultant and, you know, changing your wardrobe. Like the first thing that comes to mind, especially in today's financial climate,
Sure.
is like what is this going to cost to, like, you know, I'm not saying that you need to tell us what your fees are, but just like, is there some reassurance that, you know, you can work with a budget essentially?
Most definitely. Working with any professional, there is a fee involved because we're talking about positive change. We're talking about investing in yourself. And so, what I would say to that is we work with what you already have. I don't insist on, you know, tossing out and starting again. I've already said that we can't justify doing that for our planet, you know, or for our purse as well. I like my clients to sort of maximize what they already have, restyle them, knowing how to do that, how to maximize a trouser, how to actually maximize your body shape with the same dress that you have, just accessorize it differently, for example. And then moving forward, you know, you then have you don't have to buy lots of things all at once. I wouldn't encourage that at all. But when you do buy something new, you're choosing more selectively and you're choosing something that actually is going to be more flattering. And I think when you do that, you're happier to keep those items in your wardrobe for longer.
Yeah. No,
So
I
you
definitely agree.
you're buying things, if you like, sorry to
No,
cut across you, you're
no, no.
buying things that actually work for you rather than you buy them, you get it home and you go, oh, it
Yeah.
doesn't go with anything. What was I thinking? And it
Yeah.
sits there with the tags on for, you know, months on end. Actually, what my services will do is guide you for the future. So it helps you avoid making all of those impulse and unnecessary purchases,
Yeah.
and you feel good and look good at the same time.
Yeah. And I think it's also, you know, that I think an important thing that you said is like, you know, buying things that kind of that you can wear in correlate, like like in conjunction with other things that you've got, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to, you know, buying new things and then having this cupboard full of clothing
Sure.
and nothing really goes together.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, it's overwhelming when they step into a store. You know, because there's so much, it's that paradox of choice. There's so many options, and obviously they don't know what would look good on them. Like they need someone like yourself to kind of like guide them a little bit in that, and also just get them a little bit out of their comfort zone, because I think that's a lot of the problem as well. You know, it's like they're so stuck in their ways, essentially, that they, and kind of that fear of trying something new,
Mm-hmm.
you know, out of like, oh my god, how am I going to look in this, and just getting them kind of like into that space of, this could work. This could work for
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
Um, sorry, yes.
I arm all my clients with lots of information about what to look for in the future. And actually, I try to guide them towards a capsule wardrobe. So I've kind of done that behind me. There are a few pieces that I've just pulled out of my own wardrobe that actually I wear very regularly on
Mm,
repeat, but everything mixes and matches. So we buy less, but we buy the things that actually really fill us with
mm.
joy and that we love to wear.
Yeah, and for me, I know from personal experience. Like, obviously, I'm not from the UK, and South Africa. I'm from South Africa, and we have quite big houses there and a lot of space. So I came from multiple wardrobes to very minimal wardrobes. And,
Yeah.
you know, I had to like throw out a lot of stuff. And I'm still at the point where I'm like, oh, I still need to throw out stuff. And it's just that minimizing to the point where you can like use, like, you know, like you said, like mix and match, and you've got a whole new outfit, and it's not breaking the bank, and
Hmm.
it's not about having 5 wardrobes full of clothes and
No.
wearing something new every time someone sees you, essentially. It's more about, you know, just being smart about how you match your clothing.
Yeah, very much so. And I also think at this time of year, it's quite an interesting time because you can probably see there is a little bit of colour here behind me. And I think at this time of year, people are more comfortable wearing colour because it kind of matches the summer. We're a little bit happier to be, welcoming the summer. And then autumn and winter comes and we sort of cocoon ourselves in deeper colours. But if you mix and match very carefully, you can wear your clothes throughout the season, just using imagination of sort of pairing things very differently. We can still get that same lift from colour,
Yeah.
using a more of a capsule as well. So fewer pieces, works incredibly well.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think I wanted to ask your opinion, obviously, like this is, you know, this might be a bit controversial, but there's a lot of like, you know, these brands like Shane, and they come out with all these types of interesting outfits. And it seems to be pushing, you know, the less it covers, the better. And there seems to be this idea that that's what body positivity and body confidence is. Now, I'm kind of the opinion that that's a bit misconstrued. You know, like I think, you know, like correlating confidence with like as little as possible clothing is not really the way to go. So what would your thoughts be kind of on that?
I think once again, style or feeling good in our clothes is not about fashion, and it's certainly not about fast fashion.
Mm,
I do have a bit of an issue with fast fashion because we can't carry on at
mm,
those levels. I think social media have this illusion that everyone's life is perfect, everyone's body is
Mm.
perfect. And I think accepting our own positives, and I work with my clients sort of trying to enhance those positives and pulling those positives out. So if we know how to dress ourselves, we can look at social media and see what a perfect body might be, but there's actually no such thing. We are also very unique, also very, very different. And I think it's about connecting to, your own body positives that
Mm.
actually can just take you above that feeling. And I know it does take a long time. Body positivity, body confidence, isn't going to happen overnight, but very slowly, when we focus on an element of our body that we do love, that we can enhance, that we can learn to dress properly, I think that is so much more empowering
Mm.
than following a trend, because
Yeah.
you're doing something for yourself.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And it's also just, yeah, I think it's just like so powerful. It's more empowering when you're kind of like going against a trend and wearing something because it actually makes you feel good and it actually makes you feel confident and it's
Mm,
doing what it's supposed to do, as
hmm.
opposed to like kind of just pretending to be confident and like putting on this very skimpy outfit and going, oh, I'm very confident and that's why I wear the skimpy outfit. I think that's, it's such a damaging kind of narrative, for women, and especially young girls, like that look up to all these people on social media,
Hmm.
because that's what they see and they think that's what they need to do. And it's
Mm,
sad because it's not. It's not. You can be beautiful and confident in so many other ways and in so many other clothes.
yeah.
And I suppose it's a similar thing when I work with someone. It's also kind of getting them to understand that they aren't someone else and their body is never going to look like someone else's body. So to have that as a goal is unrealistic, and they
Hmm.
need to set a goal for themselves
Hmm.
that's realistic.
Yeah.
Like yes, they can say like, I want to do this or that, or like I want to lose weight or I want to build muscle or whatever, but like just to have a picture in their head of I want to look like that is they're not and they're setting themselves up for failure, and it's horrible to watch sometimes, because it's like going one step forward and two steps back essentially, and it damages their confidence so much more and their
Hmm.
motivation. They just,
Hmm.
it shatters them sometimes. I don't know if you've experienced kind of a similar thing.
I think I will always focus on how clients want to feel in their clothes, and I always sort of ask my clients to set themselves a style mantra.
Mm.
And once we actually do that and we can focus towards that and identify a clothing style that will work for them, then that becomes their goal, and the desire to look like somebody else diminishes.
Yeah, I like
and
that.
and that's very powerful.
Mm.
That's very powerful in itself as well.
I like that. It's essentially focusing on kind of like what do you like
Hmm.
as opposed
Hmm.
to what looks good on someone else. Yeah,
Absolutely. Exactly. So we are totally, forgetting about what somebody else looks like, because actually you are not
yeah,
them. You don't have the same body shape, you don't have the same personality. They might like linen, you might not. We're all so very, very different in what we choose to wear.
yeah,
So it's actually bringing to the fore what resonates with them. And I do keep coming back to that, because when we have clothes that resonate with ourselves, we just feel differently about ourselves, and that gives us a confidence. So can our clothing actually help our mental well-being? Oh, yes, for sure.
And that's kind of the enclosed cognition, that you talk about. I think you mentioned it.
Mm.
Did you mention it in the article that you wrote?
Yeah, I did. I mean, it's quite an interesting study. Way back in 2012, I think Adam and Galinsky sort of got together some students to work on an experiment, if you like. Um, all had half were given lab coats, doctor's coat, sort of painter's coat, and randomly assigned some sort of attention tests. I think they were called Stroop tests. You might know them as Stroop
Mm.
tests. And the findings were really significant. So just to recap, sort of, I think there were 58 subjects. They were in two groups, half just wearing their normal clothes, half wearing, a doctor's, a clinician's coat, both assigned to do the tasks. And it became quite apparent that those people who were wearing the lab coats, actually their attention was greater.
Yeah, that's
their
interesting.
results their results were, I think they were 50% more accurate in what they were reporting, and I think that's because of the symbolism
Mm.
of the coat.
Yeah.
So I think that was absolutely a really powerful study, and we hear about it sort of time and again. And you will know more about the study, I dare say. But I find that quite quite empowering, to be honest. That there is a cognitive effect in our
Mm.
brain about wearing certain
Yeah.
clothes.
And like, that, and it's, I mean, if we, there's a lot of studies on, the power of words and the influence that has, I mean, there's
Mm,
that study that they did with a group of, like a class, like essentially telling some of them they're smart, and some of them they're like saying the smart kids are sitting in the front, and the not so smart kids are sitting in the back, and that kind of had an influence. And this is a similar thing, like, so it's like, it's so powerful, just purely by what you're wearing. It can affect like your attention, your memory. Yeah, it's really powerful stuff, that, and I think um we don't always understand like what we're doing, what significant effects it has, like what we're saying and what we're thinking, and how we conduct ourselves and how we carry ourselves and how we dress. you know, it all plays a really big part in our mental health, and our well-being. It can make us feel amazing, and it can absolutely break us down, and if you constantly having like positive affirmation every day, then that can kind of it changes your perspective to kind of it changes your brain structure essentially to spot positive things,
mm,
because we're more inclined to remember negative things. It's kind of a survival mechanism that's built in. So if we consciously make an effort to align ourselves with thinking, positive, and having a positive outlook, and wearing things that make us have that outlook and feel confident,
mm-hmm,
and
mm-hmm,
set us up for the day, then it makes a big difference in
mm.
the long term.
Clothing absolutely alters perceptions. Clothing can alter outcomes. And that is, it relates to ourselves as well. It changes how we feel about ourselves. So we should never underestimate the power of our clothes. So leaving the house, where we live, on a daily basis, feeling good about ourselves. I mean, that literally cascades throughout the day.
Yeah.
Start the day in a positive way, and our clothes absolutely have the power to elevate, boost confidence and
Yeah.
self-esteem.
Yeah, no. As a last thought for our viewers, what would you like to leave everyone with?
Well, no, I wasn't anticipating that.
Sorry,
Um,
on the spot,
you,
sorry.
that is actually on the spot. I think what I would say to any of our listeners, anyone live or watching this beyond, is absolutely try to identify clothing in your wardrobe that makes you feel good and replicate it and do that again. And don't just save the joyful colours for the summer. Dig out a little bit of colour in the winter as well.
That's a good tip. That's a very good tip.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thank
Marilu.
you,
I've loved
Jackie.
speaking with you this evening, and thank
Yeah,
you to all of our listeners.
and I think just on that note, like, how can people reach you? Is it best to kind of email you or reach out by Instagram?
However, people want to, I'm Jackie Crawford, image consultant. So my website is www.jackiecrawford.co.uk. Obviously, my Instagram handle is attached to this at Jackie Crawford Image Consultant, and I am on Facebook as well. But if anyone wanted to message me directly, my email is image@jackiecrawford.co.uk.
Oh, that's amazing. And thanks so much for this chat, Jackie. I think it was a very beneficial chat, and I know we can go on
We
probably
can.
till
We
tomorrow
best
morning.
stop.
But I hope people watching this, and then like you said, that's going to be watching this, there's something beneficial for them to take away from this.
Sure. And
I think,
any questions as well, please do pop them in the feed.
yeah, and I think, I think the key thing is that there's something for everyone out there.
Sure.
I think a lot of people sometimes believe that, there's nothing for me, clothing wise, that nothing works for me, but you just haven't found the right thing.
Absolutely. Think about how you want to feel in your clothes, and it's absolutely not about there's nothing for me in these shops,
Mm,
because I have experienced the same feelings. There is no such thing as a standard size. It's about identifying what works for your body shape. But I can do that for you if you come and work with me.
So, guys, there you have it. Reach out to Jackie if you want to have that body confidence and just feel good about yourself and just be overall positive. And if you want to that success and confidence to spill over in your daily life, relationships, and business.
Perfect.
Thanks
Thanks,
so much,
Marilu.
Jackie. Have a great evening. It was
Thank you.
so
You
lovely.
too. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye. Bye.